Knowing you've lost someone, do you ever wonder if you could have shown them more love or appreciation before it was too late? I still think about the time I didn't say goodbye to my grandfather. He raised me practically since my parents worked all the time. He was a retired carpenter. He built me a treehouse when I was little, helped me with my homework, and taught me how to fish. He was always there. He was a constant presence in my life. I visited him often after that. I brought him his favorite cookies and we watched old movies together. I tried to act normal, but I was scared. I knew he was getting worse, even though he tried to hide it. I made sure to tell him about my day and listen to his stories. I wanted to soak up every moment I had with him. I knew our time together was limited. I just didn't know how limited it was. I started dreading going to sleep each night. I was afraid I would wake up and he would be gone. One day, I went to see him, but he was asleep. My grandmother told me he had been sleeping a lot. I sat next to him and held his hand. His hand felt cold and frail. I talked to him even though he wasn't awake. I told him I loved him and thanked him for everything. I told him how much he meant to me. I told him I would never forget him. I left the house that day, and that was the last time I saw him alive. I remember the day I found out he wasn't doing well. I went to visit him, and he was weaker than usual. He was sitting in his usual chair, but he seemed smaller. He tried to smile when he saw me, but I could tell he was in pain. He didn't talk as much as he normally did. I asked him if he was feeling alright. He said he was just tired. I didn't believe him. I knew something was wrong. I asked my mother about it later that night. She told me that his health was declining. I felt a wave of sadness wash over me. I didn't want to lose him. He meant so much to me. I tried to spend as much time with him as I could after that. I would visit him every day after school. I would read to him, play cards with him, and just talk to him. He was still sharp. We talked about everything. He talked about his life. He told me stories about his childhood, his time in the army, and his career as a carpenter. I cherished those moments. I felt grateful for the time we had together. I knew that it wouldn't last forever. I tried to prepare myself for the inevitable. When I was 17, he got sick. It started with a cough that he couldn't shake. He went to the doctor, and they ran some tests. The results came back. It was lung cancer. He had smoked his whole life. I was aware this was a possibility. The news still hit me hard. They started him on treatment. Chemo, radiation. It took a toll on him. He got weaker, lost weight, and was tired all the time. I tried to visit him as much as I could, but I was in my senior year of high school. I had classes, homework, and I was trying to get into college. I told myself I would visit him more when things calmed down. I remember feeling guilty about not visiting him more often. I knew he understood, but I still felt like I was letting him down. He always asked about school when I saw him. He wanted to know about my college applications. I told him I applied to a few different schools. I was waiting to hear back from them. He seemed proud of me. He always encouraged me to work hard and do well in school. Then one morning, I went to school like normal. I sat through my classes. I tried to focus, but I was distracted. I had a bad feeling. I couldn't shake it off. It felt like something was wrong. I was on my way to my last class when it happened. One day, my mom called me at school. She sounded strange. She told me my grandfather was in the hospital. He had taken a turn for the worse. She said I should come to the hospital as soon as I could. I rushed to the hospital after school. I found my mom and dad in the waiting room. They looked upset. My mom had been crying. She told me he was in critical condition. The doctors didn't think he had much time left. I asked what happened. My dad said my grandfather had a stroke. He was at home when it happened. My grandmother called an ambulance right away. They got him to the hospital quickly. The doctors did what they could. My dad told me it was severe. There was a lot of damage. I asked if I could see him. My mom said I could, but that I should be prepared. She said it was difficult to see him like this. I took a deep breath and told her I understood. I needed to see him regardless. I walked down the hall with my parents. It felt like a very long walk. We arrived at the room. My mom paused before opening the door. She gave me a sad look. My dad put his hand on my shoulder. He squeezed it gently. He told me to be strong. I nodded. I wasn't sure if I could be strong, but I would try. My mom opened the door. I walked inside. I went into his room. He was lying in bed, hooked up to machines. He looked so frail. It was hard to believe this was the man who used to toss me in the air when I was a kid. He was sleeping. My mom told me he had been drifting in and out of consciousness. I sat next to him and held his hand. His skin was cold and dry. I stayed there for hours. I talked to him, even though I didn't know if he could hear me. I told him about school, about my plans for college, about how much I loved him. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him lying in the hospital bed. I thought about all the things I wanted to tell him, all the things we still needed to do together. I replayed memories in my head. I remembered when he taught me to ride a bike. I remembered when he helped me with my homework. I thought about all the times he made me laugh. I just wanted him to get better. I checked my phone constantly, waiting for a call from my parents. I just needed to know if he was doing better or worse. I got up early and went to the hospital before school. My parents were still there. They looked tired and sad. They told me he hadn't changed much overnight. The doctors were still running tests. They didn't know what was wrong. I went back to his room and sat with him again. I held his hand and talked to him some more. I read to him from his favorite book, hoping he could hear me. School seemed unimportant. I couldn't concentrate on anything but him. Eventually, my parents told me I should go home. It was late, and I had school the next day. I didn't want to leave him. I felt like I should stay there. But my parents insisted. They said they would stay with him, and they would call me if anything changed. I agreed and went back home. The next morning, I woke up to a phone call. It was my mom. She was crying. She told me he had passed away during the night. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to tell him how much he meant to me one last time. I went to the funeral. It was packed. He knew a lot of people. He had touched a lot of lives. I listened to the stories people told about him. Everyone said he was a good man. I already knew that. After the funeral, I went back to his house. It felt empty without him. His chair was empty. His tools were untouched. His presence was gone. After the funeral, I went back to his house. It felt empty without him. His chair was empty. His tools were untouched. His presence was gone. I walked through each room slowly. I looked at all his things. It made me miss him more. I saw his reading glasses on the table. I put them in my pocket. I wanted to keep something of his with me. I did not know what else to do. I just felt lost. I needed to feel close to him somehow. I thought about his workshop. He spent a lot of time there. I remembered him showing me projects. I went to the garage. I hoped being in his workspace would help. Maybe I would feel closer to him there. I just had to see it. I went up to his workshop in the garage. It was just as he had left it. Wood shavings covered the floor. His tools were neatly organized on the wall. I picked up a piece of wood he had been working on. It was a small wooden birdhouse. He was making it for me. I went up to his workshop in the garage. It was just as he had left it. Wood shavings covered the floor. His tools were neatly organized on the wall. I picked up a piece of wood he had been working on. It was a small wooden birdhouse. He was making it for me. I sat down in his chair and held the birdhouse. I started to cry. I missed him so much. I regretted not spending more time with him. I regretted not saying goodbye. I put the birdhouse back on the table. I got up and walked into the kitchen. I needed to drink something. I opened the refrigerator and looked inside. I grabbed a bottle of water and twisted off the cap. I took a long drink. I set the bottle on the counter. I did not know what to do next. I felt lost and confused. I wanted to talk to someone. I thought about calling my mother, but I did not want to upset her. She was already grieving. I decided to call my best friend. She always knew what to say. I found my phone and dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. I told her what happened. She listened patiently. She told me she was sorry. She said I should not blame myself. She said he knew I loved him. I know he knew I loved him. We had a lot of good times together, but I still wish I had been there at the end. I wish I could have told him one last time how much he meant to me. I wish I could have said goodbye. That was 10 years ago. I am older now. I have a wife and a family of my own. I still think about my grandfather often. I think about the lessons he taught me, the time we spent together, and the love he showed me. I try to apply his lessons to my daily life. I want to be the kind of person he was. He always put others before himself. I try to do the same for my wife and children. I want them to know how much I care about them. I also want to be someone they can rely on. He was always there for me, no matter what. I hope I can be that for my family, too. I am not perfect, but I am trying. My grandfather died unexpectedly. He was gone before I could tell him how much he meant to me. I never got to say goodbye. The news hit me hard. I did not know how to process it. I felt a deep sense of loss. I wish I had had one more chance to talk to him. I also think about my regret. The regret of not saying goodbye. It is something that will stay with me forever. It reminds me to cherish the people I love and to never take them for granted. It taught me to say the things I need to say while I still have the chance. I learned you can't take back time. I have learned to live with the regret. I try to honor his memory by living a good life. I try to be a good husband, a good father, and a good person. I hope he would be proud of me. It is not always easy to do those things. I still think about what happened. I think about what I could have done differently. I know that dwelling on it does not help. I still do it anyway. It is a heavy burden to carry. I do not know if the feeling will ever completely go away. I tell myself that it is a reminder of what I have to live up to. I do find some comfort in those imagined conversations. They are probably not exactly what he would say. I think they capture the spirit of his encouragement, though. I have other people in my life who offer me support now. It is different, but I appreciate it. It helps me to move forward when I am struggling. I am grateful for those people. Sometimes, when I am having a difficult day, I think about him. I imagine him telling me to keep going. I imagine him telling me everything will be all right. It gives me strength. I still have the birdhouse he was making for me. I keep it on my desk. It is a reminder of him, of his love, and of my regret. It is also a reminder to cherish the present and to never take the people I love for granted. I think about him every day. I wonder what his life would be like now. Would he be married? Would he have kids? I wish I had told him how much he meant to me. I wish I had spent more time with him. I was so busy with work and school. I thought I had all the time in the world. I was wrong. That birdhouse serves as a constant reminder. It sits there, unfinished. I sometimes consider finishing it. I think maybe that would bring me some peace. I do not know if that is true. I feel like I owe it to him to at least try. It seems like the least I can do. I miss him a lot. I know I cannot change the past. I cannot go back and say goodbye. But I can learn from my regret. I can use it to make me a better person. I can use it to make sure I never make the same mistake again. Regret is a powerful emotion. It can be painful, but it can also be a motivator. It can remind us of what is important in life. It can help us to appreciate the people we love. I think about things I should have done differently. I should have visited him more often. I should have called him more. I should have told him how much he meant to me. I did not realize how little time we had left. Now he is gone, and I cannot take those things back. I understand that regret is a part of life, but it does not make it any easier to deal with. I think I am dealing with it as best as I can. I try to focus on the good memories. I remember the times he made me laugh. I remember the advice he gave me. I try to live my life in a way that would make him proud. I know that is what he would have wanted. I try to remember the love we shared. I have to learn to live with the regret. I need to make sure I do not make the same mistakes again. I will never forget my grandfather. I will never forget the time we spent together. I will never forget the regret of not saying goodbye. But I will also never forget the lessons he taught me, the love he showed me, and the impact he had on my life. I just wish I could have told him that one last time. I guess this post is my goodbye. I've been through many big moments and things, and it is the smaller things that I regret. People say, don't sweat the small stuff. I think it is the small stuff that actually matters. It's the little things. I think about this a lot. I think about all the times I chose to be right instead of being kind. I think about the times I rushed through conversations or didn't pay attention. I remember all the times I was impatient or annoyed over trivial things. I think about how much time I wasted on being angry when I could have been happy. I wish I could take some of those moments back and do them differently. I realize I can't change the past, but I can control how I act now. I make a point to be present now. I listen when my kids are talking to me, even if it's about something that seems unimportant. I try to be more patient with my wife, especially when she's stressed. I make an effort to tell people I appreciate them. Life is short, and I don't want to waste any more time on negativity. I tell my family how I feel. Now, if I have a bad day, I make sure to tell my wife and kids that I love them, in case it's the last time I get to. You never know. Now, if I have a bad day, I make sure to tell my wife and kids that I love them, in case it's the last time I get to. You never know.